Okay, I feel like this is the video that every chess beginner needs to watch because there's one pitfall that everyone falls into. Okay, so I overheard these guys, typical like around maybe 1200, maybe 1200, 1300 strength, a bunch of players around my age probably, at the chess club, and they were talking about all these opening resources that they had bought recently, and they were rattling off like even just unrelated openings. Like, it's like I had a video on the Alapin, I have a video on this opening, uh, and they're arguing over openings and stuff. Okay, and here, let me put out a very controversial message here. I think you should treat your first chess openings like your wife, okay? Because I think switching your chess openings evinces the same kind of psychology, the same kind of decision making that would make you abandon your wife, okay? And I'm not saying don't ever switch your openings. That's actually kind of an advantage you have with chess openings over your wife because you can switch them eventually. But I'm going to propose you only switch your chess openings after you've had the chance to go through other chess fundamentals. Okay, now let me unpack all this. Uh, Many things to go through. So one, I took some lessons with grandmasters, and it was a recurring theme. The first trial session I had with the grandmaster, he said, chess openings are not important until like international masters, or I don't know what he said, but he said chess openings are not important. And even on his coaching profile, it said, I don't think openings matter, so we're gonna focus on the middle game and stuff. Okay, that was. I'm even gonna give you his name. It was Grandmaster Tarlev, Konstantin Tarlev, Ukrainian guy. Very nice guy, very strong analytical skills, amazing grandmaster. Go take lessons from him. Very nice guy. Um, the second grandmaster I had lessons with, Grandmaster Debashis Das from India. Same thing. I asked him what openings to play, and he said, "Okay, what openings do you play? Let's just run with those." And he said, "Until you get to international master level, it doesn't matter what opening you play, as long as it's not utter trash. So you can play the Scandi, you can play the Perk, uh, whatever, or Alekhine, whatever, until even IM level, you get there. He literally said IM level, and then you can switch. Right now, you just need to bulletproof your opening repertoire, fill up the holes, so you can get a playable game, and you're not losing in the opening. Okay, so that's grandmasters telling you this, and I've had read the same advice many times in many different places. I'm sure you guys, most people will agree to this, just that they don't live by it. They'll switch openings anyways. Okay, but let me expound on this. Okay, the way I see it, as a chess amateur, your priority is to master the fundamentals. And what do I mean by this? There are certain theoretical endgames, for example, that you need to memorize. Okay, if you're trying to become a grandmaster, Dvorsky's endgame manual has 220 theoretical positions, and they can be memorized quite quickly. Okay, I won't go further into it. Okay, so and if you're not trying to be a grandmaster, just trying to be a chess master or something, maybe pick up Silman's endgame course. You'll find a few theoretical endgames positions to memorize there. Or there are a few different quid books. There's also 100 endgames that everyone must know or something. That book title, it's called, I don't know what it's called. So that's one of them. Okay, you need to go through that. You need to go through a couple of calculation books. If you're trying to become a grandmaster, one of them would be Agard's calculation book, probably, right? So there's that. You need to go through annotated game collections. That's pretty important. Like every single strong player, every single grandmaster, you read their bio or you look at their interviews. What do they have in common? What do they always say? That they have like Fischer's 60 games by their bedside, or any other annotated book collection. Like Daniel Dubov has gone through great predecessors. That book Kasparov series many times. I remember Grandmaster Mark Bluffstein in a CFC magazine. I used to get them as a kid. In there, he said that his breakthrough in getting the Grandmaster title was going through all those annotated games and trying to understand everything in them. So like that is a crucial step you need to take to develop as a chess player. So there are many these little things that you need to do to get the fundamentals down. Okay, and the problem is that you don't even get a chance to get to them because you're worried that you're going to lose in the opening. And that's where your first opening repertoire, that's the only function, is to get you a playable game where you're not losing right out of the opening so that you have the chance to work on fundamentals. Okay? Then, after you've gone through the fundamentals, you go back and you revamp your repertoire. Perhaps you add some more lines, you can make any switches you want with the confidence and this is actually pretty important, you won't even be able to understand or make use of the opening recommendations that you'll get from opening resources until you have those fundamentals. Okay, so for example, actually, I wish I had a chessboard in front of me. I just went through the first example from this. You should go through a couple of instruction manuals like this, whether it's Yusupov series or I'm going through this one, the complete manual of positional chess. Excellent manual. Just the first one I went through, advantage in development. Okay, it gives a model game. Just in going through this game, there's a comment here. D takes e4 is a mistake. You guys can't see shit here. Because black surrenders the center and allows the white knight to take up residence there. In addition, he opens a path for the bishop on c1. Okay, you guys don't need to know shit about the position, but this one comment made me understand the French defense that Tarrasch, or no, not Tarrasch, is it Tarrasch with knight d2 in the French, where black plays c5. You look at the theory, and you only really look at the theory in opening books, maybe a few dubious moves, and you just memorize those, but you'd never really understand why that move is good as opposed to others. But then I went through this annotated game, and now I have the logic, and now I really understand an opening that I've seen many, many times, but I never really understood it. I just remember the theory, the moves. But this let me understand why the other move is faulty. Like, what's wrong with the logic of it? And there are a few examples I've already encountered. Like, I was going through Anand's My Best Games, and there was one comment there about how white got in g4 or something on the king side in a Sicilian opposite side castling with an extra tempo, and also the knight on the queen side couldn't get kicked. Like some really, really subtle nuance like that. And it just opened my eyes to how the opening is held together, like what I should be playing for. Like that one extra tempo won white the game. Like holy shit, what a subtlety. What a nuance, right? So first you want to get those fundamentals so you even know what to look for, know how to understand the theory that you're given, how to evaluate the advantages, how to exploit and make use of the advantages that you get out of the opening. So that first opening repertoire is just there to get you a playable game, okay? It's not, don't be trying to like win out of the opening as an amateur before you've had the chance to tackle the fundamentals, a few of the things I already mentioned, okay? And why do I say it's like your first wife? And that evinces a psychology that would make you ditch your wife? It's because when you marry, you have an initial attraction and you see some worth in the woman you're going to settle down with, right? And you have to trust that, okay? Despite all the other beautiful women you're going to see, you're going to be tempted, and there's a real possibility that every new woman you encounter could be a better life partner. You could get more out of that relationship, but you don't go for that, because at that point to switch would be to kind of undo all the progress you've made and make a completely new start, and give away what you've already built with a trusted partner. Okay, you're taking a huge risk there, and it's probably better to stick with the woman that you already initially felt some value for, because of the kind of extra level of life it opens up that you wouldn't get with a new partner. It would take a long time to get to that same point, and there's more risk. Like you're running a risk. So in the same way, like the opening, that opening, if you stick with it, there will always be more payoff than any new opening, no matter if it seems more worthy. Okay, so like my current openings, I play the Perk defense as black, and some knight f3 shit with white. I hate it. I got so bored of it, and I kept switching for a long time until the grandmaster made me stay with the opening repertoire. And then I got so good at that repertoire that I could play very fast in it and very confidently in it, despite feeling a bit bored with it. Okay, a little bit jaded. And now I realize that if I ever made the switch, no matter how much the other opening is better, I will not have the same payoff as sticking with this opening now that I've already invested so much into it, and I can unlock a new level of chess. Okay, because now I'm actually getting into some middle games that I actually know, and I can really milk the results. That's not to say that I won't ever switch. Like I said, once I go through the fundamentals, then I'll switch. But until then, you don't switch. Like I want to drill this into your guys' heads. Do not switch openings, unless you're playing some extreme garbage like 1f3 or something. But if you're playing the Scandinavian, the Perk, London system, whatever it is, Do not switch that first open. Stick with the opening that you know the best, and that's it. And don't make excuses. Like I've had friends tell me that they're gonna switch openings because they get drawish positions or something. Like, come on, at your level, you should be able to outplay anyone from a dry, like stone, like any kind of position. It doesn't matter. And you realize this when you go through annotated game collections. Like, I'll give an example from Anand's Best Games book again. There was one game where he played Agustin, Simon Agustin, Magnus Carlsen's first coach, serious high rated grandmaster, like 2600 plus most of his life. Um, and he played some really shoddy, shitty ass like Rui Lopez that does not hold up in theory, and he got many chances in that game to beat Anand of all players. Okay, like or at least not beat him, but because he was losing most of the game, but there were many points at which he could have turned the game or at least like got on an equal, dynamically equal position. And countless times you see this, like when you go to great predecessors, those games by Korchnoi, half the time he's getting wiped out in the opening, but then he always makes a comeback in those games, and he wins amazingly with counterattacks. So that, and if these guys can do it against world class 2700s, why can't you outplay someone in a dry, quiet, boring position? In fact, anyways, I won't go deep into this like meta strategy because there's a lot I want to say here, but just get more drill this home to you guys. If you're an amateur, you have one opening repertoire that gets you into the middle game, and so you can unlock the middle games and actually develop as a player, and only switch after you have given yourself the chance to go through all the fundamentals. Then you make the switch. Don't lie to yourself.